Shalom to the royal family of Israel. I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to the Most High Yahweh and His mighty Son, Yahweh Ba'Hashem Mashiach Yahushua. I want to give a salutation to all the mighty men, mighty women, and mighty children of Israel. And today, we'll be going over the interview with SHAHRAZAD Ali.
So today, we'll be covering the interview from the author of The Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman, SHAHRAZAD Ali.
Hello and welcome to this special edition of Vibrations. I'm Raven Geary. Today on our program, one of the hottest properties making the talk show circuit, SHAHRAZAD Ali. An established writer indeed, Ms. Ali is best known as the author of The Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman. A very controversial and, if I may say so, a very critical view of life of today's black woman. She joins us today in our studio, and of course we'd like to welcome you today to Vibrations.
Well, thank you, Raven, for inviting me.
Basically, it's your premise that the black woman is out of sync with the natural order of things. Can you explain that?
Well, it's a very sensitive subject, and certainly I believe that I have tried to approach it from a very sensitive angle. What I have actually said is that the black woman's disrespect and rebellion against the leadership and the authority of the black man is a direct cause of the breakdown in the black family structure. It's not an attack on us as black women. It's just saying that in the breakdown of any relationship, both parties have to take responsibility. And as black women, we have been protected and insulated from any kind of examination about what our share of the responsibility is in the breakdown of the black family. My book represents the first platform, certainly, that the black man has ever had to air his grievances about the black woman, because no one would ever listen to him. They have only listened to us.
So here we have an interview on a television program from the late 80s called Vibration. And you see where she spoke of the breakdown of the black family. And what did she pinpoint? The lack of respect that the black woman has for the black man. Miss Ali literally wrote a book called The Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman. And you see the preface. We're talking about the breakdown of the black family. Understand, the black man is the head of the family.
The book of Ephesians chapter 5 verse 23. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, and he is the savior of the body.
So you see here, even the Lord said that the husband is the head of the wife. But that's not what we get from modern women today. They believe in she-quality, not equality, she-quality, where she's the head and he's the tail. And that's a problem.
Can you tell us a little bit about the book itself? What brought you to this point of having to sit down and use your pen to write this book?
Well, actually, it was my first book. In 1985, I authored How Not to Eat Pork or Life Without the Pig. And at that time, I was going around doing what I was calling Get Off That Hog lectures. And during my travels, I noted that I would take the microscope and show people how you can't kill the trichina worm in pork by cooking it. Heat was not destroying the worm, and I would show them, the difference, and demonstrate how FDA was now using radiation to try to kill the worms in pork because cooking was not working, which is what we had always been told.
So you see, she came by doing this book after doing her first book, trying to get people off of eating swine. She talked about the parasites that swine, that's your pig, your pork, your bacon, your ham hocks, your pork roast. There is a parasite that cannot be burned.
I have a precept.
Go.
The book of Leviticus chapter 11 verse 7. And the swine, though he divide the hoof, and be cloven-footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean unto you. Of their flesh shall ye not eat, and their carcass shall ye not touch. They are unclean to you. The Most High is telling you here that you can't eat pork, nor can you even touch it while it's dead.
And during that time, a lot of black men were in agreement to get off eating pork. They wanted to change their eating habits, and they were happy to find out some information that might possibly save their lives. But it was black women who were the most adamant, who refused to change meal planning techniques, seasoning food, cooking techniques. And so I said, it's interesting. I said, if we are refusing to provide the black man with the proper physical food, when we know that food is what sustains life, then what else are we withholding from him? Possibly there are some other areas, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, that we are affecting his behavior by what we do or what we withhold and refuse to give. And that led me to try to find out. We've always heard that the black man leaves the black family, abandons his woman and children, won't take care of the children, won't work, stays out all night, turns into a drunk, takes drugs. We've heard a lot of negative things. Most of them are true. But I wanted to find out what happens before he gets to that point. What leads up to the breakdown? We've never gone back to try to find out what happens in the relationship between the black man and a black woman that makes him go off and do all of these bad things.
So it's interesting that finally somebody wanted to take a look at why as opposed to the what is. There's a lot of black women, however, love to say how the black man is not held accountable when that's not a true statement. He's held accountable more than anybody. That's why the prisons are full of black men. That's why the jails are full of black men. That's how come there are more black women standing in line at the child support court holding the black man accountable. And in a lot of cases, they will throw you in jail. So he is being held accountable.
To assume that this is just normal, natural behavior for black men would be to assume that he is naturally bad. And I do not believe that the man that God gave to us as a mate is a naturally bad person. And so I wanted to try to examine what goes on with him. What's his side of the story?
Did a black man ask you to write this book?
Oh, no, certainly not. I think they were just as surprised as black women.
She mentioned something at the beginning of the interview that we are out of natural order. The book of Isaiah chapter 3 verse 12, as for my people, children are their oppressors and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err and destroy the way of thy paths. It says that the women rule over them. This right here is the unnatural order that exists today in Babylon the Great and around the world, where you have single-led households, or if there is a man in the house, he's like a male hyena. He's a timid, tepid beast who's in the back, and the big, giant woman is in the front. She's destroying them.
Many of them approach the title of the book with a little apprehension because they have not had a champion. We have never had a black woman who actually stood up and said, I'm standing up for the black man's side of the story. We know what our side is, and both sides are true. We have done some very dreadful things to each other, and I don't exonerate black men, which is kind of a misconception that people have. I just say that we know his side. What about our side? And we do have a side. We have adopted some wrong standards. We are judging our men many times by the wrong value system. We are using his children sometimes against him. We have been told that the only benefit that a black man provides in a home is money, and if he does not give us money to take care of those kinds of financial provisions, that he has no value.
And this is something that is wholeheartedly true. You see, child support is a weapon, and women know it. That's why they will argue you to the bone. They will not relieve a man of any responsibility of paying child support using the court systems, because they know if he doesn't do it, he's going to be punished. You know what else she knows? She knows that her children can benefit by having their father in their life without having a gun to the back of his head called child support using the court system. If a child is in the life of their father, he's going to support them. He has no choice. He's going to have a relationship with his kids. He's going to want to support them, but not just financially, giving them guidance, security, protection, and peace of mind.
And what my research has proven to me is that a black man, any man in any home, provides much more than financial support. The man provides guidance, instruction, discipline for the children, which we sorely need in our black homes. He provides gratification, fulfillment, protection. I mean, there's so many other values. And these values are the ones that are missing in our children today, which is why many black children are in the street, out of control themselves, disrespectful, don't have any regard for anyone. And most of us are scared of them, and everybody else is, because nobody has a way into them to try to gain any control over them. So I maintain that a return to traditional family values, certain clearly defined gender responsibilities for black men and black women in running a home and a relationship will help us to produce a better child. And if we produce a better child, certainly we'll have a better future and a better nation.
So she states returning back to traditional values is what's key. The husband / father has three main responsibilities. He's the protector, the provider, and the prophet for the house. If you don't have that, then your household is off balance. As a woman, if you have that balance, you get to be feminine, fit, friendly. You get to lean on this man. You get to lean on his strength. You don't have to turn your son into your husband. The Lord ordained specific gender roles. And we can get that in the book of 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 11. Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection. Now, what is subjection? Subjection is complete and total obedience and submission. There is no, well, I think I should do it this way. No, we're going to do it the way that he says. But I suffer not a woman to teach nor usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. This is what the Lord said. All scripture is inspired by the Most High. So we're clear. And the Lord said, nor to usurp. That means she should not be in charge of her man or no man. But here's the reason why. For Adam was first formed, then Eve. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression. It was Eve that was in the deception. It was Eve who allowed herself to be tricked by Satan. So there are clearly defined gender roles.
And saying all of this, and as calling yourself a champion and having, if I may say, the courage to write this book and stand by it, you've caused a stir. This book is very controversial. What are you hearing from public reaction?
Well, I don't think that it's an issue among black women about whether or not the book is true or not. The issue is that I was not supposed to tell. These are inside secrets and things that we have never let our men know about. And many times what is that we say? He can't handle me. Well, many times he can't handle us because he doesn't know what it is he's trying to handle. He doesn't understand what motivates us. We have become very adept, many of us, as being able to do something right in front of his eyes and then convince him that that's not what he really saw at all.
Unfortunately, young girls learn these manipulation tactics from their mothers. And even if they grew up with a father in the house, they see their mothers fooling and clowning their dads.
By doing
a
so.
lot of times, we take a position because of our own emotional mechanisms. We harass our men too much. We nag our men too much, and we keep his mind and his head so bundled up and bogged down with all of our personal idiosyncrasies about our day-to-day personal relationship with him that a lot of times we don't free his mind up to go out and to plan sanely for our future and for the future of our children. Many of them come to us every day and they almost have to do a wind test. They don't know what's going on. They don't know who they're going to meet because we have a lot of reactions. We tend to think as black women that a successful relationship and one where we're happy is one where everything goes our way.
And that is a notion that is clear and present today in modern women. And they feel as though everything must go my way. It's all good when it's all good. But when it's not all good for them, she ain't gonna let it be all good for nobody. And when you do that, when you put that kind of stress and strain on another person, specifically your man, then he's only gonna be a mindless, emotionless robot. That's why a lot of times guys, pay attention ladies, they go to work and they work double shifts, triple shifts, they work on holidays, they do whatever they can to be out of the house because they're unhappy.
And the first time it goes another kind of a way, then we go into hell, turmoil in our brain, and we start deciding, oh, I've got terrible problems with this man. He won't do what I want him to do. When our men have a side.
Let me give that side according to
Shahrazad
Ali, okay? You say in your book,
okay, let's
and I'm quoting you,
Come on.
okay? The black man in America is the only male on earth, including every continent, who is disrespected by the women in his nation.
That's true.
This situation does not exist anyplace else among the billions of people inhabiting our planet except here in America.
That's right.
The other black men, the yellow men, the red men, the brown men, and the white men are all honored and respected by their respective nations. All other women recognize and accept that the man is the authority, the ruler, and the leader. Only here in the United States, in the black nation, scattered throughout the United States, is the black man neglected. That's pretty powerful.
It's very profound because it's true. We are the only nation of people, and I'm talking about Negro, the descendants of the transatlantic and sub-Saharan African slave trade. Our women are the only ones that not only do they disrespect their men, they do it publicly as well. And then there's no surprise why we, the black man, are disrespected by the other nations and are laughing.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 26, verse 23. A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man, but a godly woman is given to him that feareth the Lord. This is how you know that the Most High is dealing with our people and not the other nation. The Most High will reward you with a good woman if you fear him and follow his commandments. We're the only ones who are punished with wicked women because the Lord is only dealing with us.
And that's a very good point. You see, Shahrazad Ali made the statement in her book that the black man is the only one that is disrespected and not honored by his woman. And that takes us to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15. And it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So folks, this is clear proof. We are the Israelites. We are the Jews that are spoken about here in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. Because we did not hearken upon the voice of the Lord, we're cursed. And she also mentioned that we're scattered.
I got a precept.
Go.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
So, folks, we were the ones that were scattered on all four corners of the earth. Nobody else.
And it's absolutely true. We have been displaced. A lot of us don't really understand what slavery actually did to us and how much psychological trauma it did to us regarding what our proper roles are with each other, what our responsibilities are as man and woman in our various communities and relationships. We have never been debriefed from slavery. Not really. We have just, we know we had that history, but we don't know how it affected us. We don't know how much of our actual culture we lost, how much of our ideas were taken from us. We know that our religion was taken from us. We know that our names were taken from us, but we don't know how many other standards of day-to-day life have been removed. And while we have adopted the American way of doing things, they have not worked for us because we have a very special situation. We are not the same as everyone else. And a lot of the people who want us to pretend that slavery didn't exist or to forget about it, they've never been a slave. So they don't know what we're going through. They don't know what this has done to us. It has made us as black women insecure.
Why not? If that's true, why not take up for us? Why not write something that says we need
had everybody to take up for us, and we've always had books about black women.
And it's amazing that the interviewer says, well, why not take up for us? This country has taken up for black women for about 50 plus years. As a matter of fact, even back in slavery, if you read How to Make a Slave the Willie Lynch letter, he talks about negotiating with the black woman at her will. Well, go back and read that. He's in that book. He says, negotiate with the black woman at her will. He doesn't say negotiate with the black man at his will. He says, tie the black man up to 4 horses and go into 4 different directions and pull him apart. Rip him to pieces. Cut him from the throat down to his nuts. Rape him, gang rape him in front of his kids and his woman. That's what he says about the black man. But the black woman, negotiate with her at her will. Y'all been looked out for. It's called welfare, Section 8. The police will certainly work for you. If the black woman picks up the telephone and calls the police and say, hey, this black man over here, they'll send the whole SWAT team. If a black man picks up the phone and says, hey, my black woman hit me, they might show up in 5 days.
How great and how strong we are. And we are that. I'm just saying that we have used our strength in the wrong direction. We have used it against our men instead of standing up for them. And if we start to support our men and to speak a good word for him publicly, then so many people won't be able to come against him and tear him down. And he won't have to feel so frustrated. And he won't be outside away from us looking for peace of mind with women of other nationalities, because we actually want our own black man. We need him back in our homes, and we want to have one. We're just living in a culture where they're trying to convince us that not only do we not need a man, but there's some other options to having one. And those options mainly are celibacy or lesbianism.
And that's a true statement as well. Here in 2022, it is encouraged for men in the black community to be homosexuals and women in the black community to be lesbians, so that we cannot procreate anymore, so that we die out. And black people don't even realize that's what the plan is. That's plan number 1. Plan number 2 is they meaning the powers that be, know that you are God's chosen. Go.
The book of Romans chapter 1 verse 26. For this cause Yahweh gave them up unto vile affections, for even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature.
So the Lord said that he gave you up to vile affections. Why did he do that? Because, ladies, you chose to go with Satan.
There's an old saying that says, charity begins at home and spreads abroad. And
Absolutely.
in your book, you say that we are not bringing up our daughters and our sons in a correct manner to respect their fathers.
No, we're not. Unfortunately, as I say, since money has been used as the measure, many times if a black man does not have money to give us, we won't even let him see his children.
So you see here, the mother teaches the child to be against the father. And that's only going to lead to destruction in the nation.
Heathen women purposely teach the children to be afraid of the father, so that they act up whenever they're with him, because she always speaks badly about him. She abuses the child, she neglects the child because she hates the father. And this is even if they're married. The daughter and the son see how the mother interacts with the father, so they don't respect him as well. And the man clearly has enemies living under his roof.
And it's something that's so true. His enemies are in his house.
What you women should be doing is training up a child in the way that they're supposed to go, meaning that you have to raise them and give them emotional guidance, and you have to give them wisdom. And a great way to do that is that if you just had their father in their life, then he could do that for them. In the book, and the Bible says in the book of Proverbs, chapter 22, verse 6, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it.
We won't let him spend any time with it because he does not give us whatever the child support is. And I'm not saying that we don't need money to raise a child, but I try to explain to black women that raising a child consists of much more than feeding, clothing, and sheltering it. That's maintaining one. To raise one, you need a return of the parental coalition of the father and the mother to put the proper values into the child. Many of our boys, when we raise them alone, they grow up with the female emotional mechanism. They are suspicious, they are doubtful, they're disrespectful of womanhood, they are bitchy, they can't make a decision.
Of 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 9. Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of God? Be not deceived, neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves of mankind. Many heathen black women, they raise their They raise their male children who look like their baby daddy that they hate. They purposely ruin his son by he grows up with a strong female presence, so he gains female attributes. He's very highly emotional. He has a feminine way of speaking. He's spineless, weak. He'll end up usually dating a domineering woman because that's what he's used to. Or he'll become a homosexual.
And many of our girls who grow up in a home where there's no man present, they go out into the world and try to mate. They don't have any idea how to live with a man day to day, how to prepare a proper meal, how to be a mother, how to just be in love in the home.
So right here we see that women are not being trained by their mothers to even keep the house. A lot of women don't even have a cookbook. They don't know how to cook. They don't know how to clean.
We're going to get that in Titus 2, verse 4 and 5. That they may teach their young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children, to be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of God be not blasphemed.
What are you learning though at home? I'll tell you what you're learning from your thought-bot mom. How to be a whore.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 26, verse 12. She will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler when he have found a fountain, and drink of every water near her. By every hedge will she sit down, and open her quiver against every arrow. This is describing a harlot, a whore, a woman who sleeps with any man and many men. And this is what a lot of our women are brought up to be. You see them all over social media, twerking and just outwardly being sexual and professing how many men that they've been with, and it's like a badge of honor to them.
Most of what our people and our children especially have learned about how you have a relationship, they learned off of television. And television doesn't represent our needs. And so a lot of the confusion has come, from outside agencies that we have not recognized just how detrimental it has been to us as a people.
Can I play devil's advocate for just a moment?
Well, I wish you wouldn't, but I know you must. Go on.
What if I am a good wife? His home his kids are fed. I'm making sure they're well educated. I help them with their homework. I'm a good lover, and I help him with the finances, and I say, look at that. He still took a walk.
Okay, mathematically, that's inaccurate, because if you were that, he wouldn't go. He wouldn't leave. He wouldn't take a walk. He wouldn't cheat on you. If you were this, but that's where the problem is that a lot of you, almost all of you, think that you're this perfect woman. Oh my God, I can't believe he's anything else other than what I want him to be, because I was perfect. That's you not taking blame for anything.
Black women still have this distrust, which it's all formed in their twisted heads of the black man, and they really think that black men work differently than other men, as in like they're repulsed by a good woman. Like if you were doing all this, they would still want to leave. They actually want terrible, menstruous women. That's what they want. They don't like good wives.
Well, that's something else that's been confused about my book. I advise black men and black women. I certainly tell men that if you are with a woman who you have been with for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, 6 months, 2 weeks, whatever it is, and that woman refuses to cooperate with your ideas, does not want to get with your program of right, whatever it is, then I tell those men, get rid of that woman and get another one. And I tell black women the same thing. If you are with a man that you cannot be in agreement with, then get rid of him and get with a man that you can be in agreement with.
She even says that if you're dealing with somebody and you guys are not in agreement, then go ahead and leave them. But see, the Lord even talks about being in agreement.
The book of Amos, chapter 3, verse 3. Can two walk together except they be agreed? Both you, if you're in the truth, an Israelite man, you need an Israelite woman. You can't be getting these heathen women unless she's malleable and willing to come into the truth completely and submit to you. And that's the same with Israelite women. You can't be getting with these heathen men and then expecting him to be righteous.
In agreement with. If the man you're with is not treating you the way that you want him to, and you feel that you have put in enough time to demonstrate your commitment and your sincerity of efforts to try to make the relationship work, I don't tell people to just stay in that relationship. I'm trying to teach us that we waste a lot of time being angry with each other and being dissatisfied in relationships. Get out of it and get with one where you can be happy.
You say that the black woman would like to be a clone of the white woman.
Many of us, yes. That's unfortunate.
How do you see that?
Well, that's something that was almost accidental, I'd have to say. See, the white woman has been the only mentor that we have had of a female. We've seen her every day of our life on television, every magazine, every newspaper, every commercial. You know, it's just been her face, her body, her image, whatever it has been in front of us. And so today we have the results of that. We have black women who are trying to dye their hair blonde, who are wearing blue and green contacts in their eyes, you know, who wear tons and tons of layers of makeup, who have changed their voice, who have hair weaves so they can have flowing long hair blowing in the wind, you know, like Brooke Shields or somebody.
It's funny how women won't own up to this fact. They'll bleach their hair blonde. They'll put in contact. You'll pretend to be an Edomite woman. You want to be around them. You want to be like them. I got news for you. They don't want you around them now.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 31. Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. We, Israelite women, we were created in the image of the Most High. We have godly hair and godly skin. There's no reason for us to be trying to look like these leprous women. They have leprous hair and leprous skin.
You know, and so that's been an accident. And as a result of us doing that, we have also adopted the women's liberation movement goals of wanting to be liberated from the man and have some kind of pseudo-equality. When while that may be true of the white woman and her plight with the white man, that's not really the black woman's business, because we haven't been under the control of the black man for over 500 years. So what do we have to be liberated from him from?
That would be a mic drop. You haven't been under our control since slavery. So why do you need to be liberated from us? Liberated from who?
Is there something wrong with trying to make yourself look better or more
well,
appealing?
It depends on what standard you're using as being the goal of looking better. You know, if we think to look better is to put on a ton of makeup and have blue eyes, then there's something wrong with that. You know. But if we think that to look better is to certainly get a better spirit in our heart and to work every day to become a better wife, a better mother, better friend, better sister, then those values and attributes alone will make us more beautiful than we are now.
Oh, I agree heavily with this. People will view you as more beautiful if you are beautiful on the inside, not worrying about your outward appearance. Those women's, their ugliness starts to come out and they start to look very wretched on the outside.
Your praise needs to be of God when you follow his commandments. You should not be looking for admiration or exaltation from men or people around you.
And so that's where your beauty is actually going to come in for you long duck eyelash, red lipstick, nasty makeup, fake boob, fake butt, hair weave, hair extension, looking like ostriches.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 31, verse 30. Favor is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised.
And again, that's where your beauty comes in, ladies.
How do you feel about the fact that many people accuse you of wanting to see the black woman at a point of submission? Is that where you want to see a black woman in the 1990s?
Well, it depends on how you define submission. Those words have a tendency to have a negative connotation for us because of how they were used against us during slavery and what we connect them to. But actually, the kind of submission that I'm referring to just means cooperation and agreement. I don't think that anybody could say that I represent a woman who is subjugated in any kind of way. I don't think that anybody could say that my personality sounds like some man has me somewhere crawling around on the ground or walking 10 paces behind him.
Sadly, due to slavery, the words submit and submission has gained negative connotations because we were forced to submit to our enemies, the white man, in horrendous ways, and we had no control over it, like any parts of our lives. But what submitting really is in the godly sense, and we'll get in the book of Ephesians chapter 5 verse 22. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. You must be in agreement with your husband. If he tells you to do things, tells you to do godly things. Listen to him. Don't be, and be silent. Don't try and fight against him. Don't try and have everything go your own way. Again, the man is above the woman.
It is complete. You wives need to be in submission to your husband. It's a negative connotation. You guys need to get that old thinking out of your brain, because this is even like just standard as for a righteous woman in the Bible. The book of 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 6. Even as Sarah obeyed Adam, calling him Lord, whose daughters ye are, as long as ye do well and are not afraid with any amazement. Sarah called Abraham Lord. She reverenced him and respected him. It's never once was she ever like treated like a slave or felt like that, because that's not what it was. It's that the man is the Lord of the house and the leader, and you have to give him that respect.
So I'm not representing that. I'm representing strength. I'm saying that we have a lot of power. We have power to make heaven and hell for our men. And I'm saying, let's try making heaven. Let's try to build him up. If a man has his woman behind him, he will believe he can do anything. And all we need to do is to get our men to believe that they can do anything. And he'll be able to, do much better than he's doing now and come out of the pitiful condition he's in. As I said, I'm not exonerating him. I'm just saying that all of that strength that we have, let's use it in a more positive way instead of just going for self. Nobody told us that all of that being my own person and I'm independent would lead to separation and loneliness. But that's what we had to trade for that. In order to have certain kinds of success, we had to give up the man, because we can't find a man who will compete with us on that level.
The Most High created Adam first. He created the man first. The woman was created for the man. No man of any race is going to deal with a woman who doesn't know her place. Women were made for men. You can't expect black men, Israelite men, to deal with a woman who wants it her way all the time, no matter what. It's just not going to work. That's not how we naturally were made.
This idea of the independent, strong black woman goes against the book of Genesis, where first the Most High made Adam from the dust of the ground and then put him into a deep sleep, took out his rib, and made woman, which means of man. They are together. There is no strong, independent nobody. Hell, he shouldn't even be a strong, independent black man. No, you need your woman. Without your woman and without your man, there is no nation, and it dies off.
As I said, we say he can't handle us, or he's intimidated by the fact I make more money than him. I think that by judging our men on how much money he makes, we have lost a lot of good men. Because as black women, if we decide that all of us are going to just determine whether or not we're going to have a man based on how much money he makes, then none of us have no man.
But
because most black men don't have no money.
There are many men
Not a lot of money.
There are many men out there who don't want a woman.
That's absolutely true.
Who is not gainfully employed.
The interviewer says that it works both ways, and that's actually not true. A man is judged on his job and how much money he makes. The woman, the black woman, will treat her man like a quote unquote so-called king if he makes more money than her. But if she makes more money than him, then he's viewed as something less. And understand this, it doesn't go both ways, because a man will accept a broke, jobless woman with kids, and he'll still accept you and take care of you. The woman, however, though she'll take a broke dude, she will treat that broke dude like a broke dude.
Oh, this is how you know this is the worst captivity. Esau has put Esau, who controls all the resources, so automatically they'll have the richest men. And we're at the bottom of society, and they have put an importance on resources, aka money, for a man's worth to a woman. And black men, due to racism, they can't get a lot of resources. And our women judge black men based off of how white women judge their men. And in this captivity, they have allowed women to basically become independent because they can make money all on their own, versus in other captivities where the women had to, regardless on what they thought, they had to depend on the men because women could not make their own money prior to the industrialization of the entire world. So that has just made it even worse for the Black family structure.
Women do not respect the men, and right, like Miss Ali is saying, that they're judging them based on the amount of money that they make. But you're actually not allowed to do that, and we get that in the book of Esther, chapter 1, verse 20. And when the king's decree, which he shall make, shall be published throughout all his empire, for it is great, all the wives shall give to their husbands honor, both great and small. Not only was this a decree made, this is a commandment of God. You are not allowed to dishonor or disrespect your husband just because he makes less money than you. You have to give him that respect because he is your husband.
That's
This
true.
works both ways.
And one of the things that I have always explained about that, Raven, is that for my lectures, which I do all over the country so I can give Black people some ease and take some of the hysteria out of our communities that the book seems to have caused, I have security guards. Not because of Black women. We're going to do just what we do. We're going to fuss and we're going to cuss or do a little something, But I have it because of Black men. Because the Black man's guide to understand the Black woman puts the Black man on point. And it reminds him what he has allowed to happen to his woman and his family. Many Black men become intimidated. They don't want to take responsibility for their women. They don't want the challenge. They don't want to be put on point. So they become overwhelmed. And it's them that go off.
I got a precept.
Go.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 33, verse 19. Give not thy son and wife, thy brother and friend, power over thee, while thou livest. And give not thy goods to another, lest it repent thee, and thou entreat for the same again.
So right there, men, own up to your responsibilities. You gave up your power. You let it happen. And how did you do that? By not proving that woman correctly. You allowed a devil into your life. You allowed a devil into your house, and you allowed a devil to be the mother of your children. And then you wonder and cry and whine about things not going correctly.
That's why I have security, because most men know that this book puts the Black man on point. It just talks about what slavery has done to the Black woman, but it's really telling him what he has allowed to happen.
Let's go back to the book for just a moment. According to you, there are 3 types of Black women.
Yeah, they overlap a little bit.
Can you define that just very briefly for us?
Well, we have, I kind of number them, I think, as 1, 2, and 3, and I would call them lower class, middle level, and so-called upper class.
1, the lower grade. 2, the average. 3, the high class. 1, the low-life Black woman. This Black woman may have been subjected to abject multi-generational poverty, illiteracy, and shame as a child. She works on the lowest rung of employment due to not being properly educated. She dresses in inexpensive Kmart-type styles, and her face is greasy from wearing too much cheap makeup. Her hair will also be greasy, perhaps have a few specks of lint, and may be plastered down around her face in an unsuccessful attempt to create curls or the baby hair look. She may sport a raggedy ponytail with a child's barrette or rubber band. Bathing is not that important. Her bra strap may be gray from non-washing, and she may wear her panties 2 or 3 days straight without changing them or wear none at all. She drinks alcohol to the point of intoxication and curses loud in the public. Real loud. She hangs around weekly in common local corner bars and goes out with strange men who she fights with regularly. She may have a main Black man who she fights with at will. She has battle scars on her face, neck, arms, and hands from warring with the men and women in her neighborhood or nightclubs. She goes along easily with immoral dares and relates aggressively to her neighbors. She does not read the newspaper and uses drugs when they are available. If she does not work, she is on the public dole, welfare. She may dress her child or children in the latest styles and will spend all of her welfare check on clothes and partying. She views each check day as heaven on earth, a short-lived time when she has purchasing power to feed her tepid wishes. She might have a gold tooth or a few missing teeth. Her nails are conceivably chipped or broken. Her posture is that of a toad. She may be overweight and an over-average breather with a protruding pot gut. She comfortably wears run-over shoes. Her heels may be dirty and crusty. She borrows money and food from her neighbors. She uses deodorant occasionally and is overly impressed with fancy dressed black men in big flashy cars with lots of gold. She is materialistic on a small scale and does not like to stay indoors. Even on cold winter nights, she can be seen roaming the streets or going back and forth to an after-hour joint. She is not ashamed of her condition or predicament and appears to be quite satisfied during her sterile, non-productive days. Her time is made up of gossiping with her neighborhood cronies, looking at television, wish shopping in nearby malls, yelling at her children, not keeping up with her children, and walking back and forth to the corner store. She shops above her means, has no plans to change, and attempts to use the black man available to finagle him out of money, drinks, or car rides. She has no idea what to do with a black man herself, and she does not fantasize about a better life. She is looked upon as shameful in civilized society and is considered a savage. She often hates the black women in the higher social classes and considers them conceited. Her world of thought is very, very small. Her ideas are simplified, and she speaks the language in flat, abbreviated terms full of mispronunciations and wrong tenses. She does not know any better and does not think she is capable of learning better. She is in a pitiful state of condition, and if she has any dreams at all, they are of a black man rescuing her from her status. She is also inclined to respond to the advances of white men looking for a good time. She may sprinkle herself with cheap perfume profusely. If a black woman on this level is involved with drugs or abuses alcohol, she becomes a drag of society and a corrupt mother. Men do not matter to her at all on that level unless they can provide her with money or contraband. This group requires no further discussion, other than that this black woman must be claimed, cleaned up, and returned to her proper state of existence as a civilized woman. 2. The average. This black woman is an enigma somewhat. She surfaces as a steady employee, enjoys weddings and birthdays, and may make big preparations for both. She is neat, probably goes to church regularly, fixes her hair nicely, and speaks coherently. She is at least a high school graduate and may have some college or special vocation training. She is not overly ambitious, but is an active participant in life and enjoys many things. She is fairly clean and will celebrate and participate in festivities with a zest. She is thoughtful, mannerable, and knows how to meet people. She is proud of her level of sophistication and may party occasionally. Her behavior with the black man is routine, in that she experiences a more controlled form of suspicion, doubt, and fear. She may be shy by comparison to the black woman in the first category, but does tend to make her likes and dislikes known. She is not always talkative and can best be found and examined in general office duty jobs. She is a step or two higher than menial labor and could be referred to as corny. She does not routinely abuse drugs, although she may get high every once in a while. Alcohol is her vice of choice. She is capable of consenting to marriage for the perceived security and to impress her friends and family. She remains content to work from 9 to 5 weekly and will see her steady beau on weekends or remain focused on her own priorities. She dances at the nicer bistros. She is easier to get along with than number one. Her most vicious reactions are brought on by jealousy or being jilted. Her fantasies of what a relationship should be like is patterned right off television or from True Confession magazines. She is as traditional in her activities as American apple pie. She does not ask deep questions and is content to go along with the status quo. Her faith is important to her, and she mentions the good Lord when discussing certain topics. She is attracted to lower class or upstanding black men who are gainfully employed in the workforce. She may visit the fast lane, but she is most comfortable shopping at Lerner's and cooking collard greens for dinner. She has a few secrets, but most of them are trite. She is not necessarily an innovator, she is more of a follower. She enjoys the Jerry curl look and fancy cut, outlandish hairstyles. She spends of what she has on clothes. She might have a little car, is anxious to meet men, and exaggerates about her capabilities and accomplishments. She tries to be entertaining and clever when she is with her man. She is malleable. 3. The high class. This one is a smart, possibly raging beauty. Sexy, sexy, sexy. The black women in this category are the most difficult to reach and train. She is confident, intelligent, attractive, at least by good quality standards, and wears the finest clothes, has a high-priced, well-paying position, and prides herself on being state-of-the-art, aware, reads books, looks at educational television, and has a college degree of some sort. She goes to church sometimes, may do volunteer work, and has a definite political party she aligns with, and may contribute heavily to special social causes if they appeal to her. She is a member of a ritzy club and has some nice jewelry, wears expensive popular perfume, and is very opinionated to a fault. Her alma mater is important to her. She is amused by spectator sports, especially football, and may play tennis or bowl. She curses more in private than in public, likes to let her hair down with the girls, and considers herself a prize. She may be an entrepreneur. She may snort a little coke or take a few puffs of reefer, but she rarely gets so out of control that she forgets her community standing and professional responsibilities. She is familiar with intricate banking systems, has a retirement plan, possibly stock, and a money market. She has an American Express card and travels. She likes LA, the Bahamas, Europe, and possibly Africa. She may frequent the health spa and buys expensive gifts for her man and friends. She drives a nice car, maybe a BMW or some other snazzy sports car. She may live a bit above her means, but manages to juggle her finances to get what she wants. She is very headstrong and delights in demonstrating to the black man her wealth and vast knowledge in a variety of things. She is the modern girlfriend, believes she is completely self-sufficient, and is not particularly interested in keeping house, cooking dinner every night, or treating the black man with special accord. She is in favor of independence and boasts of doing things for herself and thinks the black man should do likewise. She performs beautifully in front of strangers or company, makes a good impression, and exudes sex at will. She is greatly influenced by her peers or others whom she deems as pace setters. She adopts popular trends and attitudes about dating or marriage, which she gleans from magazines, news programs, or the newspaper. She becomes ferocious when she thinks her man is playing around on her and will fight viciously to the end to prove the black man wrong. Because she is so concerned about public opinion and what they think, she will customarily deal with a black man whom she is not particularly interested in just to have an escort on her arm. She is a rat who behaves like a dog while purring like a cat. She is moody, disagreeable to live with in peace if things don't go her way. She believes her specialized knowledge from her occupation qualifies her to be equal or superior to the black man. She will tolerate a black man as long as he fits her idea of what he should look like, dress like, work like, and the number 3 black woman is an insecure wad of knots that she hides behind all of her good education, fine wardrobe, shapely body, and savings account. These explanations of the 3 major types of black women are not all inclusive. Some of their patterns overlap, but these descriptions give a good perception of what is a...
And I don't say that all black women do everything in my book. None of us have lived long enough to do everything in the book, but all of us do some of them. And every time that we do them, then it serves to break up our relationship and run our men away from us, when that's not really what we want at all. We really want him to run toward us. But sometimes we function in such a way that makes him be outside looking for peace of mind with somebody else because we withhold the peace because we're mad at him about something, you know. I go around trying to tell black women if one of the things we can do for our men is just smile when we see him coming. Yeah, if you get with these ideas, the first thing it'll do is relax the muscles in your face. You won't be so uptight all the time. It'll make you beautiful.
What are you teaching your daughters regarding to this philosophy?
That to be able to judge things on an unemotional basis, to try to go by the actual facts of what is presented to you instead of how you feel about it. Our people in general have a problem distinguishing between actual fact and opinion, and we think we have an option to reject the truth based on how we feel about it. And the truth doesn't change just because we feel a certain way about it.
Black people, not just black women, black people rest on their feelings and emotions. It's how I feel about it. Even when the Israelites are trying to talk to you God-forsaken heathens to try and save your lives. And how is that? By letting you know that you have to obey God's laws, statutes, commandments, and have faith in Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach, Yahawashah. And you'll say, yeah, but that's not what I feel. I feel all I got to do is just this, and all I got to do is just that. Most of you guys live according to the I'm just doing me. I'm just doing me. Well, how's that going? How's that going, you wretched beast? The Lord told us in the book of Isaiah chapter 3, verse 12, as for my people, children are their oppressors and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err. And who's the they? Women. And destroy the way of thy path. And what's the way of your path? God's laws, statutes, and commandments. These women destroy that. They destroy the children. That's why the children are oppressors. these gangbangers, these killers, these street hoodlums. Miss Ali talked about that. Folks are terrified of their own kids. And that's because the natural order of life is turned upside down in the Black community. Understand this. Men, according to the book Ecclesiasticus chapter 33, verse 22, in all thy works keep to thyself the preeminence. That's your superiority. Leave not a stain in thy honor. God is the head of his only begotten son, Yahawashah. Yahawashah is the head of the man. The man is the head of the woman. The woman is over the children. Ladies, we report up. You belong to us. And don't ever get that confused. So today, we just went over the Vibrations interview with Shahrazad Ali, the author of The Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman. And this is what we know. The Black community is in dire straits. And the only way to get out of that is to obey God's laws, statutes, and commandments and be in order. And with that, shalom.
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 Shalom.